I'm sure you've seen around the web that Unity has issued an apology for the whole runtime fee thing. But I want to take a few minutes and tell you a few key reasons why I don't think this apology is enough, and that people should be a bit more hesitant before jumping back on the Unity train. So first up, they went very PR with this apology, and I want to take a look at one line in particular. Quote, "We apologize for the confusion and angst the runtime fee policy we announced on Tuesday caused." And you can kind of eliminate part of that, and they're saying, "We apologize for the confusion and angst caused." Some people can take this to mean that they're apologizing for something else, but to me it seems like they're saying, "We are sorry that you got upset." And I think we see these non-committal PR apologies all the time now, and I think more people are calling this out, but notice they don't apologize for the bad decision they made. They don't apologize for, anything else. They specifically apologize for the confusion and the angst caused, not anything else about their communication. I don't know. To me, that does not suggest that everything is good. And by the way, if you think that I am going too far really parsing down the apology tweet like this, I have to believe that this was prepared very carefully by somebody in public relations, and they either spent a good deal of time with this, or they are, a master of PR speak and already knew what to say. The counter argument here is that, well, they didn't really spend a ton of time on it, so they didn't think about that. What does that say about the situation then, if they did not spend a lot of time on something that has really drove a lot of people away from their company? That almost is worse. So when I say that I'm parsing this out, there is a reason, because I strongly believe it was probably pretty parsed out word by word to make this have their desired effect. My second point returns back to the apology, because the next line is, "We are listening and communicating with team members." From what we heard last week, and again, these are just reports, so we don't know how true these are, various team members were telling them not to do this, that this was not going to be the right move, and yet they did it anyway. I don't really know what to make of that. And then they say that they're going to update in a couple of days. We'll see what they actually come back with. But number 3, this is a string of bad decisions. There have been numerous bad decisions that Unity has made, whether it be pricing or acquiring other companies, or first one thing and the other, and you can look back through the history of, devs in Unity and kind of see that since they became public, some of their decisions have been very questionable when it comes to making the best game engine. And finally, earlier this year, they updated their terms of service to remove a clause that would allow people to stay under a previous terms of service. And that's one of the reasons that people were so confused about why they were able to charge for games that were already out and, entered into under a previous terms of service. But at some point, they have deleted the GitHub repo that those changes were tracked in, and that's when they had committed to being a transparent company with their terms. And they've made this change. They've changed the terms of service to not allow you, at least explicitly, to go back and use previous terms of service if for whatever LTS you were using for the project. To me, updating the terms of service, removing that line, and then deleting the GitHub repo after you were so emphatic about being transparent about those terms of service, it just makes me question all of that all the more. And I ultimately just cannot see anything right now that would make me want to use Unity for a project unless I had already started one. Like I say, luckily for me, I have not started a project yet. I do have some Unity assets, and I'm going to have to figure out the best ways to get some of them out, but some of them were stuff specific to Unity that I was going to use to help me speed up things like UI creation and all that. So that's a bummer. But until I see things like a change in leadership or, a track record of actually making good decisions and things like that, until I see some of that, I can't really accept this apology and actually consider digging back into Unity. Because to me, that's the damage is done, And now they're just trying to play the PR game because all the headlines this morning are Unity issues apology. And that's what they wanted. But me personally, I just don't see it, and I am not anxious to get back into the Unity game and to try to do a project in Unity. Instead, I will focus on Godot, and I will focus on looking more into Unreal and go that route because that makes the most sense to me. What about you? Has the Unity apology changed your opinion at all? Or are you kind of in my camp where it's too little too late, it's not enough? Like I say, personally, I need to see more actions rather than just talk. Time will tell. If you're considering a switch away from Unity and you're looking to learn Godot, consider checking out this video here where I go over some high-level tips for Godot.